Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I'm going to do our February the 19th, just for the day, in a meditation. The title of the meditation is Reservations. Relapse is never an accident. Relapse is a sign that we have a reservation in our program. That comes from the basic text, page 79. A relapse is something we set aside for future use. In our case, a reservation is the expectation that if such and such happens, we will surely relapse. What event do we expect to be too painful to bear? Maybe we think if a spouse or lover leaves us, we will have to get high. If we lose our job, surely we think we will use. Or maybe it's the death of a loved one that we expect to be unbearable. In any case, the reservation we harbor gives us permission to use when they come true, as they often do. We can prepare ourselves for success instead of relapse by examining our expectations and altering them where we can. Most of us carry within us a catalog of anticipated misery closely related to our fears. We can learn how to survive pain by watching other members live through similar pain. We can apply their lessons to our own expectations. Instead of telling ourselves we will have to get high if this happens, we can quietly reassure ourselves that we, too, can stay clean through whatever life brings us today. Just for today, I will check for any reservations that may endanger my recovery and share them with another addict. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the wee version of Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. What a wonderful meditation. We're talking about reservations. And I always say this. I believe that because of my childhood experience, the way I was raised, traveling so often through the course of a year to religious functions, we stayed in hotels from, I can remember just from an early age, probably no more than 4 or 5 years old, traveling some distance to go to religious events. And we always stayed in hotels. And we were always so excited because we got to swim. It was just like a family vacay that we could count on 3 or 4 times a year. However, I remember the conversation oftentimes being about our reservation. We had reserved a room far in advance of the event. And when we arrived, we would give them our confirmation number for our reservation, right? It was a guarantee. Having a room when we arrived at that hotel was a guarantee because we had reserved it in advance for future use. And so when I think about reservations in regards to our program, I agree with this meditation 110%, if that's possible, right? It's because we are setting something aside for future use. And for us as addicts in recovery, the reservations we have are really very much, or I should say, very much associated to our fears that we have. This expected misery that we have of losing a spouse, losing a relationship, losing a job. Generally speaking, I would say, though, most reservations are attached to the thought that one day someone we love will die, whether it be a mother, a father, a child, a lover, a spouse. Most people have reservations in regards to whether or not they will successfully be able to remain clean after the loss of a loved one. And they have in that sense set aside room to relapse in case it ever happens. I can stay clean except for, I don't know, I don't think I can stay clean if I lost my father. I don't think I could stay clean if one of my kids died. I don't think I could stay clean if my mother passed. I don't think I could stay clean if my, grandma, right, passed away. I don't think I could stay clean if he left me. I don't think if I could stay clean if she left me. These are all forms of reservations where we are in our minds saying, if this ever happens, it's going to be unbearable. I know already I'm not, because the thought of it almost makes me want to use. So I know for a fact that if it ever actually happens, I will not be able to stay clean. These are reservations. And I've always said, comparing it to a hotel, and usually a hotel will give you so much time to cancel the reservation before they charge you, right? You know where I'm headed with this. They will give you so much time to cancel that reservation, usually up to 24 hours before check-in date, to cancel that reservation without incurring a fee. So I compare it to this. In recovery, we are given so much time to address these reservations and cancel them. So much time to address them and cancel them, right up until the point when the expected thing, the expected misery happens. We're given all this time right up until that happens to cancel our reservation, to get rid of this false narrative we are telling ourselves that we can't stay clean. We are given so much time to get rid of that, right up until that very thing happens. If you have not canceled your reservation about using if such and such happens and such does happen, the probability of you having to stay in that room, right? Of you being able to stay in the room that you have reserved for relapse is great. And if you decide to stay clean, right, afterwards, if you decide to relapse and then come back to the program, you will still be charged with the fact that now your spirit, your esteem, not anybody else's, yours, has to conquer or overcome the devastation of the relapse, the devastation that the relapse causes, right? And the fact that you didn't cancel your reservation. Same thing with the room. If you go all the way up until the point of checkout or check-in time, and you haven't canceled that reservation within the time frame that they've given you, you can cancel free of charge. But you go all the way up until 8 hours before your check-in time, they're going to charge you a night's fee. You're still going to have to pay the price, right? You're still going to have to pay the price. So that is why I say we need to check our reservations. We need to check and double check, triple check, quadruple check. We need to check our reservations. And it has to be ongoing, because a lot of times what will happen is, because we have absolutely no power or control over other people and what they do and what they say, I have no control over whether or not my dad decides to stop smoking and drinking with COPD, right? I have absolutely no control over that man's behavior, right? And when the time comes to pay the piper, right? I have no control over that. I have no control over the fact that um, he lost his life over a pulmonary condition that probably could have been avoided. So that means that now I have to deal with the fact that I had a reservation. And I thank God this is not the case for me, but it could have been. You guys know what I just went through. It could have been. I thank God that I was able to cancel those reservations that I have had over the years of losing my parents, right? Well in advance of the situation happening. I didn't have to get to the situation and struggle because I had a reservation, right? About it. I had a made up mind going into the situation that if I lose either of my parents, that I'm going to honor their lives by staying clean because that's what they would want me to do. And so we have to do the same thing. And we can learn. You can learn from my experience, and I can learn from your experience. We can learn from listening to other people talk about, you know what, we can even learn from their experience of relapsing and what it cost them, the fee, the charge that they had to incur to their self-esteem, right? That loathing, that self-loathing, that self-degradation, that feeling of hopelessness again, for them only to wander right back into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, right? We can learn from the positive and the negative. So today, I have a couple of things I want to say before I let you go, right? I want to say to you that if you have had reservations in the past, you've harbored those reservations, you've given yourself permission to use in the past, and you actually did, and you made it back, welcome home. I'm so glad that you're back. And number two, use that experience, share, right? When you have an opportunity, share your experience, right? Your strength and your hope so that others can learn from it. And the other thing is there's a gentleman here that's in our community by the name of Donald. And I got the sweetest surprise today because he found last year's February 19th, just for today. I was having problems with the internet today, and I'm actually on my phone's hotspot recording, right? Because I could not get my internet in the home, my Wi-Fi to stay up. But before I could even come up with the, solution to the problem, I received this wonderful text from this member of ours here in this community, thanking me for the meditation and that they are part of his mornings. And that was right before I started to use my phone's hotspot to do the recording for today. So what's my point? My point is that come March, sometime in the month of March, I will actually have 3 years of doing the Just for Today in a meditation. The title of this program is called H.O.O.D Recovery Services, H.O.O.D Recovery Services. H.O.O.D is an acronym that stands for Hope Offered on Demand. And this gentleman this morning was able to access that hope. He was able to type in the day and find the meditation. Now, you should be able to do that for any day of the year by now because I've been doing it a couple of years. But in March, it will be my third March, my third year of actually doing the Just for Today. And you will be able to just type in the date that you want in my channel search, and you should be able to find that meditation. And this is an example of someone being able to do that. And I've often said to you that if I'm not able to tape in advance, or something comes up and I'm just too tight time wise, or I'm sick, I will go find in my computer's file the previous year's meditation, and I will post that for you guys, because some people just don't realize that that's something that they can do on their own. And I like to keep it current too. So with all of that in mind, I want to let you go and get on to the other meditation, because I do have children waking up and it's going to get busy. And I'm going to have a beautiful day on purpose. I want for you to do the same. And Donald, thank you. Thank you for listening and reminding me that that option is available for people. I hope that you'll continue to listen, everyone, and have a beautiful day on purpose. You deserve it.